Good morning. Oh my gosh, look at all you early birds. What is wrong with you people? Oh, I'm not early ever for anything. It's so amazing to see you guys. I'm so happy to spend this morning with you. I made the mistake of going to the Hollywood Bowl last night, and so I'm not quite awake yet. Goosh, goosh, goosh. I don't know who's in charge around here who decided to make this at 9. Why isn't this at 10? But some of you are in other time zones, I'm sure. So for you, it's, midday, early evening. Anyway, welcome, welcome. Thanks to the miracle of technology, we can all be together. Remember when there wasn't Zoom? Remember when we couldn't like see each other and we were just on phone calls? How quickly things change, and boy, are they going to keep changing. The robots are coming. Who's here? Who's worried about being replaced by a robot? This guy. Um, anyway, we're a little early, so we'll give everyone a couple of minutes. Dun, 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 dun. Just for fun, is anyone a Gemini here in Vedic astrology? Oh, so exciting. Okay, good for you. Okay, so I'm going to put in the chat just in case anyone came in a side door and didn't know they were supposed to run their own astrology chart. So let's see. Um, please have your astrology chart ready. And this is in Vedic astrology, because everything I'm about to share is not quite true in the Western system. I don't even know where Jupiter is in the Western system right now. I never know anything about Western. People are always saying Western stuff to me, and I'm always like, oh, that's nice. Really? Oh, cool. Or they'll say, something amazing about the outer planets, which we don't use in Vedic astrology. And I'm like, oh, Uranus does what? Oh, okay. Okay, so here's where you go if you don't have your um, Vedic astrology chart ready. You go to Soulmate Stars. Can you believe I own Soulmate Stars? How crazy is that wasn't taken? Soulmatestars.com. Chart creator. All one word, chart creator. And that will take you to a screen where you can enter in your birth information. Now, what's always tricky is birth times. A lot of people don't know their birth time. A lot of countries don't record it. A lot of birth certificates, it's not on it. This is the hardest part of my job. It's a little bit like trying to read your blood work without a blood sample, right? People will say, well, can't you just do my chart anyway? And I'm like, I mean, I can look at your day, and sometimes nothing shifts that day. But then it's like having the puzzle pieces, but not knowing how to put them together. Uh, so I really want to be able to put them together for people. But anyway, so you go to Chart Creator, you run your chart. Now here's what's going to happen. It's going to show in two formats. Uh, and ooh, why is my email open? Let me shut that so it's quiet. Uh-oh. Okay, good. I'm always bad with technology, so bear with me, ladies. Those of you that have been here before have seen me have, I'm sure, many a meltdown on these webinars. But anyway, you're going to see the chart in two formats, a North Indian version and a South Indian. India is a giant place with over 1 billion people and an amazing rich history and numerous states and regions. And so just like anywhere, they do things differently in different parts of India. And so they organize the chart in one format in North India and in another format in South India. And I was taught on the North Indian format, which is on the right. And so I'm just going to ask you all, for purposes of what we're doing today, ignore the chart on the left, unless you're already an astrologer and you know exactly what you're doing and you know how to read it, because what's going to happen otherwise, I promise you, is you're all going to ask me a million questions because they are very different. So you're all going to say, well, one rising sign's different. And I promise you it's not. I've had this chart creator page for, gosh, like 17 years. And I promise you it's correct. So just pay attention to the chart on the right. What we need for our purposes today, you can also find this out in the planetary details box, which is lower on the page. We want to know your rising sign. It's also called the ascendant, which is abbreviated for ASC. It's also called the first house. So in the chart on the right, it's the triangle in the middle of the square that has a 1 in it. And that's, and you know what? It might not have a 1 in it. I always make the mistake of walking you guys through this without looking at it because I'm a technology genius. But anyway, so go to the planetary details box and look for ascendant, and then you're going to look across. And what is the ascendant? So, and then you want to find your moon sign, and that's abbreviated to MO. You want to find what sign the moon is in. That's very, very important. MO in the planetary details box. And again, you want to go across the column and see what sign is it. And then, and this is a little harder, you want to find the all the planets that are in Gemini. All the planets that are in Gemini. And you know what I'm going to do, you guys? I should have done this. I'm just going to pull it up really quickly and take a look so that I can tell what it looks like. So you want to see what planets do you have in Gemini. So that's what we're going to need for this this class or this webinar today. Is we're going to need your moon sign, your sun sign, and your ascendant, or what's called your rising sign. And once you have all of that, you'll be able to follow along and hopefully not get too lost or frustrated. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. I'm pulling it up. Okay. Yeah. So on the right-hand side, Gemini will be GE. So you want to find the box that says GE. Now it's kind of faint. I apologize. And it's kind of small now that I'm looking at it. I have a computer with a touch screen. It's so cool. So I can make it bigger. It's like an iPhone. It's wild. So you want to make it bigger and you want to look for GE and you want to see any planets that are there. And they're all abbreviated. So like MO is moon, SU is sun, VE is Venus, ME is Mercury, MA is Mars, SA is Saturn, RA is Rahu, KE is Ketu. Now, Rahu and Ketu, for those of you that are unfamiliar, are also called the nodes of the moon. And these are eclipse points. These are not actually planets. They don't have any matter or any body. What they actually are is they are points, mathematically calculated points. It's truthfully the intersection of the Earth's orbit around the sun, which is like a path. That's the path of our orbit around the sun, with the moon's orbit around the Earth. These intersect in two places, a northern point called the North Node, or Rahu, and a southern point called the South Node, or Ketu. And I know we're getting a little technical. I promise after this, it's not technical. But these are as impactful as if they were planets, and they are very important for your whole life, and they have a big say over how things are going. And they're in the process of switching signs right now too, and they're going to settle into their new positions for the first time in a year and a half next month. So hopefully you'll join me next month. We'll do a little webinar on them because they are going to bring all kinds of fun and and excitement, I'm sure. So anyway, so those are the abbreviations. Those are the planets. Hopefully you were all able to find Gemini. Was everyone able to find Gemini? Does everyone know their sun, moon, and rising sign? Yay! Now, if you don't know your birth time, if you just don't know it, if you just can't get it, first of all, if you're born in the US, I can totally tell you how to get it. It's often not on the birth certificate, but it's on file. It's on record in the county of your birth. It's very rare that it's not. Every once in a while, someone will call me and say, I called the county, I called the Office of Vital Statistics, I called the record of live births. There was a fire at my hospital and it's all gone, right? But it's not at the hospital. It's at some hall of records somewhere. Where I was from, it's called the county clerk. Sometimes it's at the health department. But anyway, you can usually get it because it's federal law that it be recorded since like the 19 teens. And none of you are older than that, I can tell. You all look, and if you are, please share with us your oil of Olay beauty secrets because you look great. Okay. Okay. So without further ado, because you guys are ready, because you guys are professional, yay, let's talk about Jupiter moving into Gemini. Now, I have a little PowerPoint for you all, and that's always a little scary because me and technology are so much fun. But I'm going to go ahead dun, 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 and bring up the PowerPoint. And we're going to turn it into a slideshow. So far, so good. And we're going to make it from the beginning. And it's going to go whole screen. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Okay, Jupiter and Gemini. Woo. Okay, so one of the things that's so amazing, you guys, is Gemini is one of the signs of technology and electronics because it's ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the planet of information and sharing of information. So it has everything to do with computers and the internet and all that fun stuff. And so the very day, you know, on Thursday, when Jupiter was settling into Gemini, it had been in the process of shifting over to Gemini for weeks, but Thursday was its official day of being like, hello, Gemini, here I am. Oh my gosh, I saw these brand new photographs of Jupiter from the new, you know, it's not Hubble, but it's Hubble's replacement. It's that new camera that's cruising around the solar system, taking photographs, and they were absolutely astonishing. And I had chills. I was like, okay, this is crazy. This is amazing. How coincidental. Right? Here's Jupiter meeting technology in this deeper, bigger way. And it was very cool. Okay, so Jupiter is extremely important in astrology, in any system. Jupiter is considered, and you know what? Let me minimize you guys so that I can see. Here we go. Yay! It's extremely important because we really couldn't live without Jupiter in terms of what it represents. Now, astronomically, we literally couldn't live without Jupiter because the Earth is spinning around the sun. You know, all the planets are spinning around the sun. But the sun itself is spinning around a galactic center. And what enables the sun to do that, what helps the sun to do that is the gravitational pull of Jupiter. Jupiter's so huge, you guys. It's so large, and it's actually more akin to a star than a planet. It's so gaseous that its composition is closer to a star than a planet. And so it's, you know, it's not solid and it's not soil, it's gas. And so because of that, it has its own luminescence. For those of you who've ever looked through a telescope, I recently met Jupiter and saw, you know, one of its moons. It has many, many, many moons. And it was so beautiful and so bright, so bright. And this is because of the luminous effect of its gases. But anyway, So the whole way the solar system works and the sun revolving around the galactic center, if anything ever happened to Jupiter, we'd all be in trouble. And astrologically, it's the planet of optimism, faith, ease, grace, flow, inspiration, abundance, and healing. It's the planet of spirituality and philosophy. It's the planet that helps us say, it's all going to work out, everything's going to be for the best. It actually is considered the planet that's in charge of astrology, because astrology is based on a philosophy and has a very spiritual foundation. Uh, and it's this notion that we are working in a system greater than ourselves. And that's truthfully the whole message of Jupiter. Jupiter is all about something that is greater than you, something that is greater than the egocentric perspective, right? The me, how's this going to affect me? Anytime we invoke, you know, some sort of religious principle or some sort of, philosophical idea about the universe or life or how it works, anytime we reassure ourselves with some hopeful notion, that is us leaning into uh, the blessings of Jupiter. And so part of how we can all strengthen Jupiter in our own lives and become more Jupiter-esque, right? Jupiterian. I don't know the word for it. But one of the ways to do that, to increase our optimism, is to focus on something greater than you. The things that bring meaning, the things that bring happiness, which is another thing associated with Jupiter, is joy, is when we get out of our small selves and when we connect to something larger. And it's always the answer, right? Get out of ourselves. Now, Jupiter has many, many, many names in Vedic astrology. All of the planets, they all have 108 names, and they all have mantras to each of the names. I mean, it's just beautiful. And there are many, many, many names of Jupiter. The most famous in Vedic astrology is Guru, which actually means the heavy one. And it's, of course, because of Jupiter's size. And so did I lose you? I just want to make sure I didn't lose you guys, because I can see, are you guys still there? Oh boy. Oh gosh.
We're
Oh yeah.
here.
Oh
I'm here.
gosh. Okay, good.
We're
Because
here.
I'm used to seeing like a square and it went away. And that, I'm sorry to say, that would be something I would do. Okay. So Jupiter is known as Guru, the heavy one. Guru also means, of course, anything that lights the lamp of your consciousness. The true spiritual meaning of the word guru is anything that lights the lamp of your consciousness, anything that inspires you, anything that creates that spark. Jupiter is associated with Zeus, the god of lightning, right? And with its counterpart, Subramanya, who's just like Zeus in Hinduism. And and the names are so beautiful. So another name is Brihaspati, the Lord of Prayer. So Jupiter is thought to rule the vocal cords. Mercury's communication and speech, but Jupiter's the vocal cords. And so we couldn't speak without Jupiter. And but Jupiter tends to focus on saying supportive, optimistic things or spiritual things like prayer and mantras. So another word for Jupiter is mantra. But Jupiter, the mantra also means the in-breath and the out-breath of life that holds everything together. So it's deeper than just the way we know the word mantra. Um, Now, another word is honorable, Arya, which means honorable, Aprameya, which means immeasurable. And then I love this one, Sami di Karma, which means connected to successful works. Jupiter's the thing that tends to make everything work out. When Jupiter is smiling on significant parts of your chart, things have a way of working out. When people call me with something really dire and scary, and I look at the chart, I'm always like, come on, Jupiter, come on, Jupiter. Because if Jupiter is really supporting, the issue or the situation, it's going to be blessed. It's going to have legs, right? And then the most beautiful of all the words is Jiva, which means living or causing to live. Jupiter is the life force in everything and in all of us. So you can see how incredibly important. Now, Jupiter can also be a little too much of a good thing. We all know that person that's too optimistic, that says, I don't need to read the fine print. It'll be fine. Oh, I don't need to save my money. It'll be fine. Oh, I don't need to like check their references or get to know a guy, right? I just feel that it'll be fine. So if Jupiter's a little too strong in your chart, yes, it might protect you, but it might get you into a lot of trouble. So, so in astrology, even the good guy planets are here to teach us. And sometimes some of us, especially when we're younger, learn the hard way. Okay. Now, Jupiter was just in Taurus from May of 2024 to this, from May 1st to this past May 14th, 3 days ago. And that is pretty typical. It's usually in a sign for 12 to 13 months before moving on to the next sign. Now, within each orbit around the sun, there are periods of a few months where it's retrograde. And when it's retrograde, it's closer to the Earth than usual, and it can be felt even more strongly. It can also tend to make us go more inward and more deeply into ourselves and that aspect of ourselves. So it occurs to me, I should have told you guys when it's going to be retrograde. It doesn't go retrograde. You know what? We won't worry about that. It goes retrograde in November and it's always for a few months. And I don't have the thought when it ends. So forgive me, but that's the kind of stuff you can always Google. But it's going to be even deeper. It's going to be even stronger. Now, it's not recommended, and I'll write a newsletter about this around that time. It's never recommended when Jupiter's retrograde to marry or start something super major, like a new company or something of those along those lines, unless you have Jupiter retrograde in your own chart. Now, if you have Jupiter retrograde in your own chart, ladies, that means there's going to be an R beside it. You'll see an R. So you'll see like JU and then an R. And that means retrograde. And that means it was closer to the Earth at the time you were born. And so the gifts of Jupiter will be stronger in you. And the talents that Jupiter brings, like to be joyful, to be spiritual, to be lucky, will be stronger. Now, the downside can be, though, is you might be overly optimistic. You might be, I don't have to read the fine print and I don't have to get to know a guy. I just am me, right? You might be that person. I personally have a retrograde Jupiter, which is why, I'm so steeped in a spiritual path and I have a spiritual job, and I have absolutely been too optimistic much of my life. And it's exhausting, ladies. So don't do that. But anyway, okay. So Jupiter was just in Taurus. Taurus is the sign of the bull. It's fixed, it's earth. It's an earth sign. Each of the signs has an element. It's ruled by Venus, and it's the natural second sign of the zodiac. And so fixed and earth is very solid. And that tends to make things pretty stable, pretty dependable, pretty reliable for the most part. So, the economy was doing well. Most of the time, Jupiter was there. There was a lot of growth in technology. Good golly, right? A lot of interesting things happening in the world of money, a lot of new different kinds of money coming into being, a lot of digital currency. And it was being ruled by Venus, though, is interesting. Venus and Jupiter, there's something called planetary relationships. Planets are either friends to each other, supportive of each other, or more inimical or considered adversarial towards each other, or like blocking of each other. And Jupiter is faith and spirituality and truth and doing things because they're the right thing to do and they're the thing we feel called to. That's Jupiter. Venus is more indulgent. So it's sort of like Jupiter is like the angel on your shoulder saying, oh, take good care of yourself and do the right thing and, help your fellow man. And Venus is like, go buy Manolo Blahniks. And let's get those really expensive hair extensions, right? Like Venus is a little indulgent and a little hedonistic and wants what it wants, right? And so Venus can get you off your spiritual path, right? And what gets us off our spiritual path more than anything is sex and love, right? Relationships, right? Ask any monk who fell. Why did they fall? Because they fell for somebody, right? So anyway, so when Jupiter's in a Venus sign, it can't fulfill its greatest expression because Venus and Jupiter are kind of going like this the whole time. So yes, we saw good things in markets. Yes, we saw, and there was drama, and there was drama when Saturn was switching signs. That's when the market got really weird. And after the new administration came in and all the changes were happening and the markets were scared, right, of the tariffs and, ooh, what's happening, what's happening. So there's a lot of focus on second house things, which is economy. But anyway, so now Jupiter's in Gemini, and Gemini, and this is now through June 1st. Now there's a break. It's very interesting. Jupiter is doing something. It's being extra speedy in Gemini. It's being extra fast. And so in October, it's going to have gone all the way through Gemini into the sign of Cancer for 2 months. Now, this is actually great. Cancer is Jupiter's very favorite sign. It's where Jupiter's at its fullest expression. It's ruled by the moon, its great friend. This is where Jupiter can really save the day. So it's only for 2 months, but I'm very excited to see what happens in that 2 months. Then it's going to move back in mid-December into Gemini and stay there until June 1st. And then after June 1st, it moves into Cancer again. So for some of us, it would be better if we could just take a nap until mid-October to mid-December and then June. I wish I could. But anyway, kidding, of course. So here it is in Gemini. Okay, so what is Gemini? I spent the morning reading about Gemini in what the Western system says about it, and it's so interesting. So in Vedic astrology, well, in both systems, it's the sign of the twins. It's a mutable sign, so it's not fixed. It's mutable, which means like changeable, flexible, adaptable, versatile. Fixed signs are more solid, reliable, dependable, unchanging. Mutable signs are like zoom, 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 zoom. It's an air sign, not an earth sign. Earth signs also very stable, solid, reliable, dependable, practical. The air signs are like the wind. And then it's ruled by Mercury. Mercury is one of the more youthful planets. It's, intellectual. It's associated with the intellectual mind, information, ideas, media, reading, writing, speaking, creativity. It's the natural sign of instruments, languages, playing the piano. And then it's the third sign of the zodiac. And the third house, or the third sign in a chart, symbolizes younger siblings. You know what? Okay. Symbolizes younger siblings, neighbors, colleagues, short trips, travel, and again, creativity. So this is a more exciting, stimulating, changeable position for Jupiter to be in. So it's going to be more of a whirlwind, and it's going to bring, but it's going to bring a lot of great stuff. So let's talk about it. What to expect? Oh, I already talked about that. Okay, well, before I talk about all of us and all of you, I want to talk about good news for the United States. Now, not everyone lives here, and I appreciate some of you aren't American and don't live here. Some of you are Canadian. Welcome, welcome. Some of you might be in Europe even, or Australia. Welcome, welcome. But, you know, the US tends to have a big influence and a big impact on, you know, markets for good and bad, right? And on policies that affect people all over the world. So I wanted to share some good news. In the United States chart, there are 4 planets. Ooh, and I can bring it up. There are 4 planets in the sign of Gemini. So right here where my little pointer is, it says MAVEJUSU. That is all Gemini. In the sign of Gemini, where there's a 3. The 3 in my program is for me, and I know that Gemini is the 3rd sign. So forgive me, this isn't for non-astrologers. But so here's what happens when Jupiter in the sky moves into Gemini for the US. It's going to smile on this house. This happens to be the 7th house. Don't worry that there's no 7 there. It's the 7th house because of its position. It's in the middle, on the bottom, on the right chart, right? Not the left chart, but on the right chart, middle bottom. That's the 7th house. The 7th house in the chart of a country is your partners. It's your allies. It's your trade agreements. It's your alliances. And that is a healing, supportive thing for your alliances. So the United States has, you know, been through tremendous change and upheaval and has sent ripple effects all over the world in the last few months. And it's been kind of unsettling to a lot of us here. Some people are very excited about it. Some people are very worried about it. I don't mean to go political on any of you this morning, and I'm certainly not going to share any of my boring opinions. But what I can say is that I'm very, very happy to see Jupiter sitting in the 7th house. This should heal relationships for the United States. This should heal a lot of things because Jupiter is going to be what's called transiting through the sign of Gemini, where it will activate Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and the Sun in the US chart. And that means protection, that means safety, that means the economy should manage to hold up amazingly. That means optimism should increase. When Jupiter sits on Mars, that's one of my favorite Midas touch combinations, and we'll talk about that in a minute. When it sits on Venus, it's very good also financially, but it's good for art and culture and beauty. When it sits on Jupiter, it's very good for optimism and faith and, you know, religion. And you know what's interesting is Jupiter rules, again, spirituality, faith, religion. So it also rules figures of spirituality, faith, and religion. The word guru doesn't just mean the heavy one and doesn't just mean anything that lights the lamp of your consciousness. A guru is like the leader of a religion, right? And so in Catholicism, the guru is the Pope. Now, they don't technically worship the Pope, they worship Jesus. That's really their guru. And it is interesting that as Jupiter was switching signs, leaving the sort of stable, solid sign of Taurus and moving into the younger, more disruptive, more, you know, interesting sign of Gemini, and it's transiting the Jupiter in the US chart, we got an American Pope. Isn't that kind of crazy? I thought that was crazy. When Jupiter was moving into a new sign, we got a new Pope, just as that was happening. Because you know, it's a time of transition. So one pope transitioned and another pope came in, and he's younger than they usually are. He was unexpected, which is a very Gemini thing. And he's an American right when the US chart has its Jupiter return, which is always a very spiritual time. So, and then Jupiter sitting on the sun in the chart of the US, I'm encouraged by, because the sun rules the ninth house in the chart of the US. And the ninth house is good fortune and blessings, it's wise counsel, it's higher education. So I'm hopeful. Now I told you I'm too optimistic, but I am encouraged that this means absolutely means positive things for the US. So hopefully that'll be good for the whole world. Yeah. But we're here to talk about the personal. I'm not a world astrologer. I do not make major world predictions. I'm terrible at presidential election predictions. I'm way too attached. I get way too, like, my own hopes and dreams completely get in the way, and I'm never doing it again. But anyway, I am a personal astrologer, and in that I'm very trained and very confident. So we're going to talk about you guys. So what about you? So if you have, we're going to look at your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. Now that's kind of a lot, but all three are important. And you're going to find that Jupiter in each of these signs, and if it's influencing your sun, your moon, and your rising sign, it's going to show up in each of the ways, like the themes of each will be felt. Now, sometimes they kind of contradict each other, and you'll be like, well, gosh, Carol, that's weird. You know, I have this thing is good, but this thing isn't as good. Or this thing says money, but this thing says overspending. And this thing says I'll meet a guy, and this thing says I won't meet a guy, right? And so that's kind of life, right? Haven't you guys noticed? Like, we'll have something really supportive of an area of life, but then something else comes along that's not supportive of that area of life, and both are true. So none of these neutralizes each other or cancels each other out. So what you want to take in is all of the different themes and different nuances of this, and then sort of pay attention to how they show up for you. Because it's Jupiter, we are going to be more focusing on the positive, because Jupiter does bless whatever part of your chart it's smiling on. Uh, and but anyway, but don't get, I guess what I'm saying is don't get too discouraged or too excited one way or the other. The other thing to consider, of course, is astrology is wheels within wheels within wheels, right? There's 9 planets that we look to, if you include the sun and moon and call them planets, and Rahu and Ketu and call them planets. Of course, they're not planets. But there's 9 planets that we look to. There's 12 signs. There's 3 constellations within each of the signs. There's 27 nakshatras or Vedic signs, and then each of those is broken into 4 sections called padas. And then each of the planets has different aspects where they influence each other depending on where they are in relationship to each other. There are so many things going on at all times, including your planetary period and sub-period and sub-sub-period. So this is just one of them, but it's a big one. Because again, Jupiter is the big one. Jupiter is the heavy one. And his gravitational pull is so great that it's why we all exist. So so I thought it was worthy of stopping and sharing about. Okay. So my Aries people, congratulations. Jupiter is in Gemini, which is the 3rd sign from Aries. So Jupiter is smiling on your 3rd sign from either your sun, your moon, or your rising sign. The 3rd sign has to do with, like I said, younger siblings, short trips, creativity, communication. It's the house of or sign of entrepreneurship, marketing and promotion. So this can be a really great time to somehow share a message, share ideas, explore your creativity. If you want to write a book, now's the time. If you want to paint a painting, now's the time. If you want to learn piano or French. By the way, France is ruled by Jupiter. I don't know who decided that, but I almost wore a French shirt that says merci. But instead I wore yellow because Jupiter's favorite color is yellow. Okay. So anyway, so this part of your life. Now, if you have younger siblings, the third house from Aries, is Gemini. It's the natural house of younger siblings, and it can be both a time of healing with them or healing in their own life or improvement somehow. Jupiter always elevates or uplifts or smiles on the different parts of our life as it's influencing them. And so, yeah, so it's a great time where there can be progress with younger siblings and neighbors and colleagues. So you want to be a little more social. And I will say for all of us, Jupiter and Gemini is more social. A lot of us, even the most extroverted among us, became kind of introverted in the last few years because of sheltering at home and social distancing, and our circles got smaller and smaller. And Jupiter's going to help a lot of us kind of get back our old zip, right? Okay, for Taurus, congratulations. Jupiter is now in the second sign from you. And that means second house issues can be healed, uplifted, expanded. The second house is is income. The second house is money. The second house is earning. It's finding a job if you need it. It's finding another job if you need it. It's finding a better job. It's asking for a raise. It's getting a promotion. The second house is the mouth, the teeth, the vision, and the face. So it's a great time to get dental work done, to get better glasses, or if you need eye surgery or if you need gum surgery, if you've been wanting an awesome facelift, not that I'm promoting that, but yeah, it can be really good for, anything having to do with the face will be blessed and will be more supported. It's also really great for your family of origin is the second house, your name and reputation. If you want to somehow clear your name, expand your reputation, yeah, or connect more deeply with your family, it can be very, very helpful. So let's see. Is that all? Now, Jupiter rules sweets. It rules sugary foods, sweet foods. So does Venus. And Jupiter in the second house is the diet and the nutrition. It can both heal or enhance your nutrition. It can help you have better food habits. But it can also make you a little more into sweets. So you want to watch overindulging with Jupiter, as I said before, it can make you a little too optimistic. So, okay, Gemini, whoop, whoop. You guys have Jupiter in your sign, which is really nice. When it's in the sun, moon, or rising sign, all three of these can give like a lift. The sun is especially the health. The rising sign too, especially the health. The moon is more the emotions and the point of view, the philosophy. When Jupiter is in this sign, of your sun, your moon, or your rising sign, it's like on your team. You're gonna really feel it. And it's very good for feeling luckier, feeling more optimistic, feeling more hopeful, becoming more spiritual, and having things that you've been wanting just come freely, right? With Jupiter, we don't have to make a lot of effort. Things tend to fall in our lap. Doors tend to open without knocking. It's really cool. So your manifesting can really increase. Your expanding can really increase. So it's a great time to do, intentional goal setting, to create a vision board, to write your dream life list, to post it somewhere and repeat it to yourself, to get into, visualization and all that cool stuff, to start watching Abraham videos. Yeah. Okay, for Cancer, Jupiter is now in your 12th house. Now, the 12th house is a lot of good things. It's the house of sleep. This can help you sleep better. It's the house of bed pleasures, wink, wink. So if you've been, wanting some fun in that department, there can be more opportunity. Uh, it's the house of foreign countries. Jupiter here, it's totally beautiful for visiting a foreign country, for going on a spiritual pilgrimage to someplace deeply meaningful to you. It's a beautiful time to track down your lineage, right? To visit like your ancestral grounds or homeland. It's really lovely for all of that. The 12th house is islands. It's great for, going to an island, going to some tropical paradise. Uh, the 12th house, the 12th house, now the not so great thing and the thing to be careful of is it is the house of expenses. And pretty universally, when Jupiter's in the 12th house, there's a lot of expenses. So I have Jupiter in my 12th house now. And, I've shared in my newsletter, we're in the process of getting a new roof. I haven't written the check yet, but it's going to be a doozy. And then, we just had a giant plumbing problem that's going to be about half of what the roof was. Like, I haven't had expenses like this. I don't, maybe ever. I mean, it's crazy. So I'm already like shaking my head and going, okay, Jupiter, I get it. I hear you. So hopefully you other Cancer people aren't experiencing that too. Woo, it's painful. But anyway, so what else can I say? Yeah, Jupiter in the 12th house, the biggest thing to watch in terms of the challenges is too much outgo and yeah, overdoing, overfunctioning, overgiving, that kind of stuff, overspending. Okay, for Leos, okay, you guys are maybe even more excited than Geminis themselves because Jupiter is in your 11th house now. Gemini is the 11th sign from Jupiter, from Leo. When Jupiter's in the 11th house, oh my gosh, you guys, my little ancient book says things like elevation to higher station in life, leadership of a village, huge profits, huge profits. This is good financially. Maybe help out your Cancer rising friends or moon in Cancer, sun in Cancer. I'm kidding, of course. Yeah, so the 11th house is cash flow. The 11th house is powerful people saying yes. The 11th house is the house of hopes and dreams come true. It's also the house of friends. The house of friends, groups, organizations. When Jupiter is here, it's a beautiful time to join a new group. It's a beautiful time to become part of a new organization, to make new friends, or to heal and deepen your relationships with your existing friends. It's a very, and it's also the house of older siblings. So if you have older siblings, this can be in the coming year, a year where they really expand, they really thrive, or you and your relationship to them can really expand and thrive. So honestly, anybody, Sun, Moon, or Leo, go for it. If there's been goals you've had that you've been like in the way or stuck or afraid, just don't be afraid. You have Jupiter on your team now. Like, make the phone calls, throw your hat in the ring. If somebody says no, Jupiter's protecting you. Really, something better is coming. So, yay, Leo. Don't forget the rest of us. Okay, Virgo. Virgo, Jupiter is now in your 10th house. The 10th house is the 10th house from Virgo is Gemini, and the 10th house is career. 10th house is, career. The 10th house is your mission, your purpose, what you're up to in the world, how you express your life force in the world. So again, just like for Taurus rising, great time to try to get a new job, do better in your job, have things go more your way. So ask for that assistant, ask for that corner office, ask for that raise, tackle that big project, impress higher ups or become the higher up. Or if it's your own company, there can be new opportunities, there can be more support, there can be more flow in career. Now, the 10th house is also, if you still have a father, it's the house of the father's income, actually. So your father can be doing better, his money can be expanding. Fathers are father figures. So this includes fathers-in-law, stepfathers, all those people. So that can be nice. Uh, but yeah, this is, so Virgo, really go for it. And if you're saying, well, I'm retired now, you know, it can be a beautiful time to just express whatever you feel your mission is, right? So if you do any volunteering, or if you want to have something you create or build that's all your own, like, and whatever that is, right? Yeah, but this is a good one. Okay, Libra. Gemini is the natural ninth sign from Libra. And the ninth house and the ninth sign are so, so, so beautiful. It's good fortune and blessings. It's divine gifts and protection. It's spirituality. I mean, for Libra rising, Jupiter being here is kind of like, it's not kind of like, it's the planet of spirituality moving into the house of spirituality. So it's a beautiful time to read more spiritual books, find a spiritual teacher, join a spiritual group, start meditating, whatever you feel called to do. Now, I'm not one of those people that thinks, oh, if you're spiritual, you have to meditate, or oh, if you're spiritual, you have to do yoga, or oh, if you're spiritual, you have to have a teacher. I think everything is spiritual, right? Like, you know, I think everything is imbued with Jiva or life force, and whatever feels true for you, whatever makes time fly, whatever makes your heart sing, whatever gets you more connected to something greater than yourself, that is your spiritual path. Full stop. For me, it's kittens, right? For me, it's fostering kittens. That is when I see God, right? I look into the eyes of a kitten and there is God, and that is more important than meditating on my path. I call it kitten meditation, right? So so you can find that thing, or you can expand that thing for yourself, you Libra people. It's also really beautiful for father figures, bosses. The ninth house is the boss, or the boss's boss, or the organization of the higher ups in your company. So I'll say to people, ooh, your boss is going to really support you in the coming year, or they're going to really find favor with you, or they're going to really be on your team. And it, I swear it works. It's so cool. So uh yeah, so that is really beautiful. So Libra's your site. Okay, Scorpio. For Scorpio, Jupiter is has just entered your eighth house. Now, the eighth house is so fantastic. The eighth house is the house of unearned wealth. You know, just the best kind, right? The kind of money you don't have to bleed and sweat for, the kind of money you don't have to crawl over broken glass, right? Uh, so unearned wealth, what is that? It's inheritance, it's royalties, it's partner support, spousal money. Uh, and when Jupiter's here, all of that can increase. Now, sometimes that's not a great thing. When Jupiter's in the eighth house, sometimes I see that and I go, uh-oh, if they've had like a sick parent or grandmother, because then it's, you know, it's a windfall of some kind coming through unearned, you know, ways. So I don't mean to scare anybody, but it can indicate, you know, that you're going to inherit. It can indicate if you're married, your husband's money is increasing. If you have a business partnership, you'll feel more support from them. If you're trying to raise money or get investors, Jupiter in your eighth house is the time. Yeah, if you want to get backing, it's fantastic for that. Now, the eighth house is also research, and it's the house of the occult. So It's a beautiful time to, get more into some kind of research. The eighth house is also like your own estate, your own affairs. Jupiter here, it's a great time to do your will, do your trust, uh, you know, get your affairs in order, expand your own legacy. Beautiful for that. And physically, the eighth house is the house of sex, wink, wink. And so it can be good. It can be good for the sex life. Okay. Okay, Sagittarius, you guys are are being blessed in your seventh house, just like the US chart. Seventh house is partnership. So this is when partnerships can expand. So if you're in a relationship, it can really grow. Your partner can be having a better time. Your partner can be luckier or feeling happier within themselves or turning more towards you in a way that makes you feel good. If you're single, this is one of my favorite times for you to go on a mission of love, I like to call it, if other things are supportive too in your chart. Uh, this is when I got married. Jupiter moved into my seventh house, and 3 days later, there was my husband who had been an old boyfriend. And I had known for 7 years that this year was coming, and I had totally thought it would be someone else because I already knew him. So it was hilarious when he came back. I was like, well, listen, I mean, I can't be exclusive because I'm getting married this year. So that was the torture I put him through. But anywho, it all worked out, obviously. But back to you guys. Okay. The seventh house is one of the travel houses. If this, if you're Sagittarius rising, you love to travel. So if you can travel more in the coming year, that will make you really happy. That can go really well. It's also the house of, it can affect business. And again, business partnerships too. So yay, Sagittarius. Okay, Capricorn. Jupiter's now in your sixth house. The sixth house is the health. The sixth house is also any health problems, any adversity, any debt, any enemies is your sixth house. Debt is an enemy. Health problems are an enemy. Jupiter in your sixth house can help you overcome those things. You can pay off debt. You can win a lawsuit. That's an enemy, right? Somebody actually suing you. You can win. If you want to sue somebody, this can be a more supported time to go after, child support or divorce reconfiguration or, you know, chase after a landlord or whatever. So Jupiter in the sixth house helps you overcome problems. If you have health issues, this can help you. Suddenly they can just resolve, or you can find the right help. You can find the right doctor. You can find the right remedy. You can heal. You can improve. Uh, and then it can be very good for addictions as well. The sixth house is also addictions and compulsive disease. So anything that's like a monkey on your back that really has been weighing on your heart, right? Jupiter can help give you the strength to overcome that. Now, that doesn't mean all by yourself. You might need help. You might need to join something, go somewhere. Um, but it absolutely is like the grace that can lift you out of whatever challenges you have. So this is a very good Jupiter as well. Okay, Jupiter in Aquarius. This is the natural fifth sign from uh Gemini is the natural fifth sign from Aquarius. And the fifth house is a lot of great stuff. It's the house of spiritual studies. So it's like reading scripture, reading shastras or sutras, or it's the house of children. If you have children, this can be when they're thriving or they're expanding in their own lives, or your relationship can be improving with them. Uh, it's the house of investments and speculation, speculative investments. So like the stock market, a lot of people lost a lot of ground in the last few months. That can really come back if you are Aquarius rising. I think it's going to come back in general, but it can really come back for you Aquarius types. You might get a great stock tip. Hey, call the rest of us. Let's see what else. It's the house of what's called purva punya, which means past life credit. So which is sort of a weird term, right? Past life credit, but it's sort of like a lucky position, Jupiter here, and it's an optimistic position. It's one of the considered better ones, truthfully. It's and from, and we'll talk in a little bit about aspects, but from this house, Jupiter aspects a lot of great positions in the chart. So this is one of the better ones. So yay. Okay. Pisces. For Pisces, Gemini is your fourth house. Gemini is the fourth sign from Pisces. The fourth sign is, or the fourth house is home, land, property, real estate, residence, anything having to do with your property or your vehicles. It's cars as well. If you've been wanting to make home improvements, this is the time. If you've been wanting to get rid of an awful roommate, you can. If you've been wanting to sell a place and cash out and get a big chunk of change, this is the year. Yeah, so Jupiter in the fourth house blesses anything having to do with land, property, home. If you're actually in real estate, if that's actually your field, it's very good for you. It can really improve in the coming year. And if you've been needing a new car, or if you've been needing car repairs. Now, the fourth house is also has a lot to do with our emotions, so we can just feel more optimistic overall. We can feel happier. It's also the house of mothers and mother figures. So if you have a mother, she can be doing better, or your relationship with her can be doing better. And so, go visit her, or plan a trip with her, something along those lines. So yeah, I mean, I could go on and on and on about each of the houses and each of the signs and what Jupiter's doing in each, but there's so much more to say. So I thought we should also talk about, as I just showed you with the US chart, what does it mean as Jupiter transits the planets? Now, by the way, we're going to do Q&A at the end. So if any of you are like, oh my God, I have 17 questions, and I'm so sorry, I can't do this and read the chat. So I don't know if you're stopping and asking questions, hoping I'll see them, but I can't see them. So I apologize, but we will totally answer questions. I should have said that at the top. We'll totally answer questions at the end. Okay. So what do you have in Gemini? Now, you might not have anything in Gemini, and that's totally fine. These are also going to be true if you have anything in Sagittarius. I should have said that. If you have anything in Sagittarius, Jupiter, all the planets do something called aspecting, which is essentially like, another word for it is glancing. So think of it like when you walk into a room and someone looks at you, you're connected and you feel that connection. You feel something. Sometimes you feel something great even, and sometimes you don't. And sometimes you feel something not great. But you definitely feel a connection. And that's what it's like when the planets aspect things or aspect each other, is they connect in some way, and they influence each other. They put their influence on one another, and it can be very significant. It can be very significant. So Jupiter aspects the 5th, 7th, and 9th houses from itself. Especially strong is the opposition, which is, in the case of Gemini, it's Sagittarius. So for our purposes today, let's see, the 5th sign from Gemini is Aquarius. The 7th sign from Gemini is No, I'm sorry. The 9th sign from Gemini is Aquarius. The 5th sign from Gemini is Libra. I can talk, I swear. Okay. The 5th sign from Gemini is Libra, and the 7th sign is Sagittarius, and the 9th sign is Aquarius. So quickly just look in the planetary details box. What do you have in Libra? What do you have in Sagittarius? And then what do you have in Aquarius? Because what I'm about to say is going to be true for you as well as if you had these planets just in Gemini. So that should include all of us because we should all have something in some of these. Okay. And if you don't, I apologize and we'll get through this quickly. Okay. So if the sun is in Gemini, Libra, Sagittarius, or Aquarius, Jupiter's blessing can help uplift your health, your career, bosses or bosses, like whatever king is in your life, and father figures. Your health, career, bosses, and father figures. The sun also specifically rules the heart. So, the physical heart, like your cardiac situation, your circulatory system. So there can be improved health to that part of the life. Okay, the moon. If you have the moon in Gemini, Libra, Sagittarius, Aquarius, Jupiter can be uplifting your mind, your emotions, can make you more optimistic, more hopeful, and your mother figures. Now, hope and optimism can be a kind of practice, right? I love that quote by Abraham Lincoln. He said, most people are as happy as they decide to be. I think it's decide to be. It might be want to be. So, making joy, which is another thing Jupiter is in charge of, making joy a practice, making joy a commitment, uh, is really, really important. And if you have, Jupiter influencing your moon in your own chart, you're going to be more naturally comfortable with that. That's going to be a philosophy of yours, more likely. And if it's doing that in the coming year, you can really take that up as a practice. I recommend you all take it up because things have been a little strange. I don't have to tell you. Okay. Now, when Jupiter comes along and influences Mars, and this is if you have Mars in Gemini, Libra, Sagittarius, or Aquarius, this is one of my favorite Midas touch combinations. People that are rich, I mean, like rich, rich. Every time I look at a chart of somebody rich, rich, they always have Jupiter and Mars together in some way. They have Jupiter in a Mars sign, which is Scorpio or Aries. They have Mars in a Jupiter sign, which is Pisces or Sagittarius, or they have Jupiter and Mars together, or are smiling at each other from across the sky. It just never fails. There's always Jupiter and Mars. And it's cool, right? So if you have Mars in Gemini, Mars in Libra, Sagittarius, or Aquarius, your finances are getting a boost. Now, so might your motivation. Mars is motivation, drive, ambition, exercise. It's a good time to increase your exercising. Siblings and close friends. It's interesting. Mercury is sort of thought to be the planet of friends, but Mars, soldiers, right? Mars is who will fight for you, who will fight with you, who will be like your comrade in arms. And that's really Mars. Mars is the soldier, right? Mars is the fighter. So Mars is your really close friends. Mars is the people you can call at 2 a.m, right? Mars is the people who, if you lost it all, you could sleep on their couch for at least 2 weeks, right? So yeah, so go for it, you Mars people. Okay, Mercury people. If you have Mercury in Gemini, Mercury in Libra, Mercury in Sagittarius, or Mercury in Aquarius, you're already really into communication, expression, media, technology, and it's going to grow. And for all of us, Jupiter and Gemini, I mean, we're going to see AI go crazy. We're going to see daily use and adoption of AI get so much greater. So for those of us like me that are like, oh, we really have to jump on board because the world is dramatically changing. And it can be a really good thing. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to be a good thing. It might be really incredible. So we want to get on the train and not get run over by the train. But anyway, so you people with Mercury in these signs, again, Gemini, Libra, Sag, and Aquarius, this is good for business, contracts, technology, acquaintances, colleagues, neighbors, all the things that Mercury rules. So it's better for being more social, getting more out and about, increasing your mind, your intellect, your knowledge, going back to school, all that stuff. Okay, Venus people, if you have Venus in Gemini, Venus in Libra, Venus in Sagittarius, or Venus in Aquarius, Jupiter smiling on your Venus can really increase your pleasure, improve your sex life, help you get an improvement to your vehicle or a new vehicle or your home and garden, improve your beauty. You can get a better hairdresser, you can get a better wardrobe. And this is a good love thing. Venus is love and romance. It's your love life. Jupiter coming along is like smiling on that. So this is one of the times I encourage people to date and to internet date and to go to happy hour and to go to meetups and to get their flirt on and to be, practicing more romance with their partner if they have one. So now if you have Jupiter itself in Gemini or Libra or Sagittarius or Aquarius, Jupiter is improving your own Jupiter. It's enhancing your finances, your hope, your optimism, your own healing. It's making you even more inspired in your life. It's making you feel part of something greater than yourself. When Jupiter comes along to our own Jupiter, which it does every 12 years, and it does in the 60th year, the 60th year is called the Age of Enlightenment because of this. It's thought to be a time where you can really expand your consciousness. So, yeah, so let's all go there, right? Okay, now if you have Saturn in Gemini or Libra or Sagittarius or Aquarius, Jupiter here can help with your discipline, your focus, your responsibilities, but Jupiter can bring like a more lighter relationship to those things. You can be more joyful with those things. They don't have to feel like such burdens and so heavy. There can be more philosophy around those things. You can feel, and you can go further with them. So if you have something you've been wanting to be more disciplined about, if you have something you've been wanting to dig deeper into or get more committed to, this can be good. Now, I will say Gemini is a mercurial sign. It's ruled by Mercury. It's a little like, it's the wind, right? Mercury's the winged god. He zips around. And this first phase of Jupiter and Gemini up until October is so fast. It usually does not transit an entire sign that quickly. So all of us need to be a little like careful that we keep our focus and that we stay, disciplined enough. But for you Saturn people, I think it's going to be very, very good. The combination of Jupiter and Saturn in a chart, if people are born with Jupiter and Saturn sign or Saturn and Jupiter sign or Jupiter and Saturn together, this is a very spiritual combination. This is you see this a lot in the charts of people who help others. It's called the ministering to others combination. And so this can be a beautiful time for those of you who work with people to really feel like you're having a deeper impact, to really feel like you're making more of a difference and you're getting better results for the people you're helping. And for those of you with this Saturn, one of these Saturn positions, who feel like you're not helping anyone, it's a great year to find somebody to help, find some selfless service, find some charitable work or some, volunteering or just showing up more for the people you love already in your life or neighbors or, that kind of thing, your community. Okay, now if you have Rahu in Gemini, Libra, Sagittarius, Aquarius, Rahu is one of those eclipse points, right? Rahu is uh, is the north node, and Rahu is the planet of technology. Now, there's all these amazing myths associated with Rahu. A healthy Rahu can help us be really innovative, really like think outside the box, really creative. You see Rahu prominent in the charts of, very, very successful, tech gurus and founders of, incredible inventions that have changed the world. So Rahu's very associated with technology. When Rahu's causing trouble, you see like compulsive disease, addictions, uh, and obsessions. Rahu can create like aberrant thinking. When it's doing something good, it's going to lift things very, very high. When it's doing something bad, it's going to create a lot of trouble. And that takes a deeper understanding of your own chart and what is Rahu up to. But Jupiter coming along to Rahu is very good for technology. So again, jump on the AI train or enhance your own skills and abilities. Uh, and it can help you with any addictions or any compulsive thinking or behaviors in your life. And it can expand your reputation somehow. Rahu has a lot to do with fame and being known or having more, influencing the masses. Anybody that really influences a lot of people in a major way, there's always some kind of Rahu thing going on with them. Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to influence the masses, Jupiter's here to help. Okay. Now, K2, another name for K2 is moksha, which means the planet of enlightenment. So K2 is less interested in the affairs of the world. Rahu gets very, very into its desires and very into what it wants. K2 gets very expansive and very beyond the beyond. And when Jupiter comes along to K2, oh my gosh, this is when people have the most exalted spiritual experiences. This is when people call me and they're like, oh my God, I astral projected and I went into the future and I saw through time and I was talking to all my dead relatives. And that's without mushrooms, right? That's without any chemical assistance. Uh, so, so in a Jupiter K2 transit, there can be deeply meaningful spiritual awareness and greater realization and awakening. And there can be a deeper interest in this subject, whether you experience it directly or not. I will say Jupiter and Gemini is a mental intellectual sign, and the planet of spirituality there. It's really going to support spiritual study and spiritual information and sharing of ideas more than everyone dropping down and having these giant emotional, physical experiences. But if Jupiter's coming along to your K2, you can have giant emotional, physical experiences. And please tell us all about it. I can't wait to hear. Okay. Now, in Vedic astrology, just like in feng shui, there's a whole branch of what are called upayas, which means remedies. So things like mantras, wearing the color, colors. The color for Jupiter is yellow, like I said. Gold is associated with Jupiter. The day Thursday is associated with Jupiter. So one of the things that's recommended is to wear, and this sounds like superstitious mumbo jumbo, and only do it if your heart feels called. But wearing yellow on Thursdays, chanting to Jupiter. You can go on YouTube and find beautiful Sanskrit mantras for all the planets, and chanting either to Brihaspati directly or chanting the names of Jupiter. You can find all of that. And again, only if you feel called. And then I will say, Jupiter is anytime you're engaged in spiritual conversation, philosophical dialogue, reading a spiritual book, you're interacting with Jupiter. And then again, anytime you're connecting with something greater than yourself, right? Now, I've shared before in another webinar that one of the most beautiful remedies for Jupiter, and my favorite, is to own your feelings and tell the truth and to be more authentic, to not people please, to not overgive, to just do what feels honest and don't do what doesn't feel honest, right? That helps enliven and increase the Jupiter energy in your life, right? So what to do? So I really think while Jupiter's in Gemini, like I said, there's just going to be this explosion in AI. It's a beautiful time to study spiritual scriptures, pursue your creativity, go on short trips, become part of something greater than yourself. Increase your faith, reach out to siblings and friends. It's the sign of younger siblings and the sign of friends and acquaintances. And then know, of course, this is just a blink of an eye, a blip in time. And this too shall pass. Now, if any of you are confused, if you're like, ugh, this Jupiter position was good for this, but this was good for that, and you want more information or you want more uh, personalized specifics about your own life, and you want to look at things like your planetary periods and your transits of all the other planets, I do readings again. I've been having so much fun in my own chart. Jupiter's been coming more around, and what makes me feel bigger than myself is sharing astrology and is delivering the one-on-one. Writing newsletters makes me really happy and sharing products, but it's not as meaningful, right, as connecting directly with you guys. So if anyone would like a reading, I am available for that, and you can just reach out to me at Carol at Love is in the Stars or Carol at Soulmate Stars. You can write to the address at the bottom of my newsletters.